I was kind of sick, man. I was like, hey,
he was gonna do it. He was gonna do it.
Listen, I know I probably don't know as much, but I know somewhat.
Yeah.
How much he was going through it, so we need to get it together, man.
Nah, I'm good, man.
Bus come every 15 minutes, yo.
Nah, at that time, I didn't think they was never gonna come. Them bitches was on strike.
Real tough.
Them bitches was on strike.
I mean, relationships is complex, man. They not, they simple, but they complicated. They can be complicated at the same time. So there's a lot of work you got to get into, when you're talking about spending the rest of your life with somebody, man.
Right.
And then it's like, even when you in a relationship, like, it's still more work to be done. The longer you've been together, the more work sometimes it is to maintain it. You know what I mean? Because the biggest part of a relationship falling apart a lot of times is just complacency.
Right.
So you got to find, like, new ways to,
Reinvent.
reinvent stuff to keep it fresh. You know what I'm saying? To just, be more vulnerable.
You gotta continue to date. You gotta continue to date your mate.
Yeah, so like that stuff is work, man. So sometimes you need somebody to help you navigate through all that. And that's one of my favorite things to do though, I think, is work with couples though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell me about this Black Men's Hill thing?
Yeah, man, it's an incredible organization, man. Actually, it was developed by some incredible women, from the Philadelphia area.
Wow.
They're amazing, man. They came up with the idea. I mean, obviously, we all knew that this been needed in our community forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I'm pretty sure it's been, there's a couple other programs out there, but we need as much resources with this stuff as we can get.
Right.
So they came up with it, man. They developed it. They put the work in. They grinded. They went on, they showing the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne, the guy, endorsed them and everything.
Is that the video you put up on Instagram?
No, that was like a
All right. Well, after this,
yeah.
I want to ask you about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, that's it was already going before he even got involved. But like he was able to like sponsor some stuff, and they've been building it, man. I had to be a part of it, dog.
Right.
Once I seen it, I'm like, this is amazing. So I had to definitely be a part of that, and I work with everybody, but when it comes to our people, man, I got a passion for helping them. Like especially black men, where we come from, dog.
We think we don't need it.
Yeah.
We think we don't need therapy.
Yeah, man, it's like it's the stigma that come, from where we come from. Ain't too many guys was doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think that we like that's? Why do you think that's the stigma? We don't need therapy. And sometimes this is the term that people. Well, this is the phrase that people use. Therapy, that's white people shit.
So it's funny you said that because there was a guy in our recent fundraising they had for Black Men Hill. It was a fellow therapist. I forget his name, but he actually had said this powerful thing. It was like a quote that he saw, or somebody else had said it, and he said, "White people go to therapy and black people go to jail." And like when he said that, it was like it kind of caught me. Like, and he said it changed his life because at the time he was still actively going to therapy. He was like providing therapy, and like all his clients was white.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's when he made the conscious decision to say like, I need to like do more. You know what I mean?
Right.
And start building my time more to like my people as well.
Right.
It's a lot of reasons for it. You know what I mean? Just simply from just like the mindset of like there's not a lot of black male therapists.
Right.
So I mean, you think about it, like the OGs we grew up with, the guys that our pops and our family, like I'm not talking, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't was so much about just the stigma of therapy itself.
Right.
It's about the relatability. A lot of the clients we get, one of the first things they say, even when they applying, it's in the application. It's like I don't want to have to explain, my experience as a black man. While I'm going through this process.
Right.
Like, you'd be surprised, men just say that in the application.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, guys.
Well, these are the clients.
These are the clients that's saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And, it just shows that, like, look, don't get me wrong. I encourage all, men, if, it's a lot of guys a lot of good therapists out there that come from different backgrounds and cultures and all that, and that can be helpful.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, like, that relatability, sometimes you can't substitute for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I think that alone was a barrier. It's just that not enough guys feel comfortable, going into the situation. Like, I don't know if this guy can relate to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
but whenever I do decide do therapy. The person that I probably get is a person that looks like us.
Right.
You know, I probably would be you, but I think you probably too close. But you would probably be a person. You're a person of interest.
Right.
But I had a question before we
Yeah, I was
veered
saying
off.
about the Instagram post that you put up, and can you explain
Yeah.
what that video was about?
So
and
that was
touch on that?
yeah, that was just basically the agency, the organization that Black Men Hill,
Right.
just promoting the product, just talking about the experiences of the therapy, the therapists that provided therapy, as well as some clients as well. So like they just had a recent fundraiser on 11/11, where people shared their experiences,
Right.
Therapists and clients. So it was just just getting the word out there. You know what I
Right.
mean? Just getting the word out there that look, man, like it's changing, man. Like
Yeah.
even though years ago, like when we was coming up, wasn't a lot of people the men are hungry for therapy. They coming.
You need
man.
it.
They
It's needed.
coming. No, they be hungry, man. They be willing
Need
to
it.
do the work. Like everything I said in that video was facts. Like these dudes just coming in, they ready, like, cause therapy tricky, man. Like a lot of times, some people, they might be mandated to come, or they
Yeah.
might feel like, all right, look, my family forcing me to do this. They not really trying to be there.
Yeah.
Not to say you can't get good work done with them, but it's a longer process because you got to
Right.
get them to buy in. These dudes is bought in from the
Right.
right. Like they like, yo, look, they understand their trauma. They understand, like what they want to see different. I
Right.
think what's going on in the world has a lot to do with that as well, like the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
But these dudes are ready, man. I think that just getting the word out there more and starting to get that out there. They're like, look, it's okay. You got people that's here to support you.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Is the fact that them telling you their problems to someone that they really don't know, is it more helpful because of that? Like they not feeling like they're judged by their family or their homies or anything like that?
So
You think is the reason that's why
you
therapy
saying
works or whatever?
you
Like,
saying like instead of like why they don't feel comfortable with I guess sharing certain
Yeah.
things with like people that's closer to
Right.
them. I think it's a little bit of that. But I think it's also just like feeling like somebody that's capable of handling what you dealing with. You know what I mean? Somebody that has the insight. You know what I'm saying? The experience with dealing with some of the trauma and the stuff that they got to deal with. Because I mean, look, like sometimes our family members might have our best interests at heart, but
you
I
can't
mean,
talk.
yeah, like
But
if
they
you
don't
go,
have the best advice.
right? You know what I'm saying?
You
So
know?
if you go to them and like, listen, man, like I can't even sleep. Like I'm still struggling with this thing or this situation that happened 10 years ago. You know what I mean? They might not really know what to tell you to handle that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes it's just the ability to be able to like, or just the confidence that the person you're going to, has the insight to help you. But I think that play a part too though. I think that some people just they don't feel comfortable being vulnerable with people that they love.
Right.
That's
crazy.
ain't that's crazy.
I think that's crazy. I think you
Mhm.
should be comfortable in being
Right.
being able to be vulnerable with people you love. I think
Right.
that's why you think people aren't comfortable in being vulnerable with people
you gotta think about it, man. Like especially black men. Like I think about when we grew up, HP. Like you couldn't show too much weakness, man.
No, you
know what I'm
can't,
saying?
and I think that's just the whole thing with the culture in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we all black men always have to put on that strong, that tough.
Right.
Cause I know growing up, Mom Duke saying, "Yo, I ain't raising no pussies, man. I got two boys and
That's a
a
direct
daughter.
quote from his
Like,
mom.
I believe that.
no, real rap.
His mom was
like,
a gym,
no, my
man.
mom was hard as nails, man. Like,
I remember.
she's not raising. I'm not raising no bitch ass niggas. Like, that's not what I'm doing. Like, and we didn't have a like. My father passed away when I was 10. My stepfather also when I was in the same year. So it's like, man, like my mom was just like, dog, I'm not trying to hear that, man. And then my older sister actually happened to be the toughest one out of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, dog, like that Beans line resonate when you say, damn, I'm thinking like, how my older sister gonna make me tougher?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like you have to be tough. Like I didn't know it was cool. I didn't think it was cool to cry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I got all my tears out when I was young. Like I had so much death around me as a younger kid. Like like I said, we had we lost a couple homies growing up. We lost Steve Brown, a couple other people, man. But so it's like to actually like my feelings. I feel like as I at a certain point, I was out of touch with my feelings. Like I was always tough. I was always scared. Like I didn't cry. But now it's like, as I got older, it's like, dog, it's cool to be.
Right.
It's cool to be vulnerable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And you just imagine how like that's the experience for so many of us though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, coming from where we think about it, dog. We be playing we on the blacktop on Monday with some homies, and then the next minute, like Friday, one of them gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like we never addressed it, we never talked about it, we never processed that with nobody.
Yeah.
That's traumatizing, man.
Yeah.
You ain't always gotta see it happen, you know what I mean? But you know, like guys like we grew up with James and all those guys, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing James on Monday, Friday, he was gone.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and then we just going to play basketball, you know, we just going to school. Ain't nobody discuss it. You know, so like it was so many experiences like that, you know, collectively, you know, like similar to what you're saying, and that's a part of the problem, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From the community we come from. So, you know, I'm happy to see it starting to slowly change, but we got a lot of work to do, though.
Definitely got a lot of work.
We got a lot of work to do, man. Yeah.
So, what is the benefit of seeing a therapist? Like, just the natural, like, how can I be helped by just talking and just you asking questions? Because it seems like from therapy, from what I see, it's just like, so, you know, how you feeling today? And then it's like, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh, are you cool?
Yeah.
And then it's like, it go on from that. So, like, what benefits?
Can I cut it real quick?
Good.
You know what? I think a perfect example of therapy, Antoine Fisher is like the perfect,
Yeah.
the perfect
That's
example.
one of my favorites.
That's how I feel. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Dave.
That's one of my favorite movies. No, that's a great question. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't pay attention to that's Hollywood therapy. You know what I'm saying? That's what you see on TV
Right.
and all that. That ain't really how it goes. It's work, man. It's a process. You know what I'm saying? So like most of the progress that you're gonna make is in between the sessions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Most of the sessions when we sitting down, we talking, we doing, you know, what we doing. It's a lot of just, you know, me gaining insight, you know, me getting to know you, us recognizing certain issues, you know what I'm saying, and then creating plans and goals and all that. But then in between the time when you actually go home and you go home to your family, you go back to your community, that's when you're really doing the work. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's when you're really putting the plan in place and like following through. So that's the biggest part of the therapy process. You know what I mean? If you got somebody that's just gonna come in and just, you know, venting and all, getting all that stuff out is definitely a part of it, and that's helpful. But you gotta put the work in though.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta put the work in. Like you know, that's why it's so effective.
You got to start healing yourself and those around you, basically.
It's work, man. And another part of that is, you know, the therapy, whether if it's family therapy or not, even if it's individual therapy, the therapy extends beyond you.
Right.
Because we ain't none of us is really out here by ourselves. We are part of a system. We are part of a family. We got, you know, we come from our parents, and we still, you know, we got our significant others and our siblings and all that. So like that's a part of the process. I mean, like they might not be in there with you, but it's knowing how to, you know, how to maneuver through those relationships, how to deal with those relationships, how to set boundaries, all that type of stuff, how to practice self-care, you know, with all the responsibilities as a father and so on and so forth. So like all those things come into play when you actually doing the therapy though.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about you know, they say a lot of women have daddy issues. So, how do you feel about men having daddy issues?
Man, I mean,
that's a real thing.
It's real. No, it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you know, sitting here with y'all is like nostalgia. I'm thinking about like how we came up. Like, I'm going back. I mean, a lot of our pops wasn't around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality. I don't really know off the top of my head too many guys that we hung out with growing up who dads was around. You know what I mean? And that's a major part of the problem. And that has an impact.
Right.
That has an impact. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I mean, you know, our queens, our black queens, our mothers did a great job and you know, holding us down. But there's only but so much they can do to really teach us how to be men. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a lot of us, we had to learn a lot of that on our own, and like
with each other.
With each other. You know what I'm saying?
I tell people that all the time. Like, I didn't know how to court a woman.
Right.
I didn't have a father to tell me that. My mom didn't tell me that. Those conversations were probably too uncomfortable for her to have. I basically learned everything I learned was through my friends and through TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they say Uncle Phil's your dad, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's TV dad. That's the only dad you got is the TV dad.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel like the daddy issues with the younger crowd with all this violence going on? What you think about that?
I mean,
You think that play a role?
Definitely, man. Because one thing is a big thing with just like behaviors like that, man. It's like a lack of accountability.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we already know, like even though we I got families now. You got a family. Like there's a lot of good that came out of our lives.
Right.
Without us having our fathers consistently around. But we had other avenues to kind of get that. We always was in sports.
Yeah.
We had old heads on the block. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That held us accountable and all that. So those things help. A lot of these kids, man, they ain't getting it.
Ain't no old heads.
And ain't no old heads really getting at them. Like, we had Mr. Tony down here, Mike Guard dad was down the street, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So those are major guys in my life. Like I
Yeah.
looked up to them. Like Mike dad was like a second dad to me.
Right.
So at the end of the day, like that's kind of went to the wayside a little bit. But then there still ain't no fathers there. So like one thing about dads and real men, they're gonna hold you accountable.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like even the young boys we got now, it's like, yo, what you doing? Dog? Like, I mean, like, come on, you know what I mean? But that's the real issue. It's just not enough accountability, man.
Right.
It's not enough strong men that's around and that's healed themselves.
Right.
To be able to like tell a young boy what to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should you is there any other type of therapy for people out here, or do they have to just come and sit down with a professional?
What you mean?
Like what else? What in your opinion should people at least try to do if they can't come and see you? Like if they can't come see a therapist or whatever. Like you said, it's hard to talk to your family about your issues. So like maybe a pastor or something like that, just like the church. Or,
so you saying like what's some good substitutes?
Yeah,
like if you don't actually
yeah.
go see a professional,
Right.
what's some things you can do? I mean, honestly, man, guys like leaders of the community and pastors and stuff, they've been therapists, and I keep coaching.
They are therapists.
They are therapists.
They are.
You know what I'm saying? Coaches. All them dudes been therapists forever. You know what I mean?
Old heads, all
old
that.
heads on the block. Like I said, Mike Gardad, like all of them, Mr. Tony, like those are guys that I went to and was able to confide in about things when I was going through stuff or when I was confused.
Right.
I would say if you just really don't want to seek a professional, and you really you're not ready for that, surround yourself with people who, you feel like that you can learn from and that you can benefit from and that can support you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's a good way to go, but it can't just be anybody though. It gotta be somebody you would genuinely, I mean, that's if you want to get better, you know what I mean?
Right.
If you want to surround yourself with people that you feel like got your best interests at heart and, and got some wisdom, man.
Right.
Cause that can mess you up.
Right.
Go to the wrong folks.
Yeah.
You know?
Getting the wrong advice.
So what you think is like the difference between like, say you're a person that's close to you versus a therapist?
Right. What you mean? Like, what's the difference between that?
Yeah, what's the difference? Like how, because I can confide in my, you know what I mean, and I might get something completely different from him, and then I can confide in the therapist, and he can give me something completely different.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
what's the?
So I mean, it's benefits in both though.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't like just because one thing may be different or maybe a different insight than the other that is not still beneficial to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And another thing about therapy, it is giving some insight and advice, but it's more so just helping you to discover some like stuff on your own.
Right.
It's like helping guide you through these situations
Right.
and teaching you new traits and how to cope with things and how to deal with certain things.
Right.
So it's not always like, yo, like this is what you need to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or this is what, you know what I mean? It ain't always about that. Like sometimes you go to the homie, it's like, as men, we solution focused. We want like, yo, what's the deal? Like what you need?
Right.
Like, I mean, this is what you should do.
Sometimes you just need to wait.
It's a different conversation. Like if you come to me as my man, like still maybe therapy, it's still advice.
Right.
But you looking for answers.
Right.
Like you ain't when you hit me up, like when you was going through, you ain't. Dog, I'm not trying to be on the phone with you for an hour, D. You know what I'm saying? And go through all these techniques and all that.
Like,
I need some
break down.
answers.
I'm trying to get through this shit.
Danny said that to me a couple times.
Yeah,
Like I'm trying to slow walk. Like, oh, you gotta chill. You like, dog, I need answers, man. You know what I mean?
How do I get over this shit?
Yeah, like
now?
what I do. So when you come to the homies, like you looking for answers. You know what I
Right.
mean? But you gotta understand when you come into therapy, it's a longer process than that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because we trying to get to the root of the issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not just trying to fix it, because if we fix it, the issue, if you ain't dealing with what's underneath that, this is gonna
Right.
keep happening.
Mhm.
So I gotta find out as a therapist, like what's underneath
Right.
that's causing this to be a reoccurring thing in your life. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's a longer process. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's benefits in both.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you really want to get to the root of the issue, you should probably see somebody.
Right.
Yeah, because that's what's gonna help you long term though.
Have you seen a therapist going through your?
Yeah, look, man. I think their therapists need therapists more than anybody. You know,
That's
'cause-
dope.
Yeah, because how do y'all cope with all that information? Like
Yeah,
just listening to
Because I feel like y'all got all the answers.
Yeah,
Nah,
so
so-
you listen to problems week out and week in, and you just like
that's a great
you
question.
take that home like, damn, boy, these motherfuckers are crazy as shit.
Yo, the things it's not. I feel like it's not normal work, man. It ain't normal at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it takes, you have to know how to, you know, set boundaries. You got to know how to manage your emotions and time and all these different things in order for you to be effective, and
Right.
even just do the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think over the years I've done a good job. I think a lot of it is just my personality and just how I am that helps me manage that. But you definitely got to be mindful of, like, you know, how you dealing with stuff. You got to know when to take breaks. You know what I'm saying? You got to know, you know, when you got to take a step back. You got to know when to ask for help,
Right.
because it can get overwhelming for some.
Right.
You know, it can get real overwhelming and stuff. And if the stories you hear, the things that you got to deal with,
Right.
and then, you know, think about it like this: like, we not a lot, like, we still human too. We still got to go through our own stuff or
Right.
whatever. But, you know, imagine you having your worst day. Like, you having a bad day, you having a rough day today.
Mhm.
You came in like you ain't tired. Imagine you come in and you got, you know, all the stuff that happened to you today, and you got to clock in and hear about everybody else's bad day. That's what you
Right.
clocking in to do.
Right.
Man.
You know, it ain't about what you, all that stuff you went through that I'm gonna shoot you in the face and none of that bad no more. You know what I mean? It's like, now I gotta flip the switch,
Turn
and it's
you
all
off.
about you.
Yeah, turn you off.
You know what I'm
turn that
saying?
person-
You gotta,
turn the
and you
people
gotta
off.
do that every day. You know what I mean? So, you know, on the rough days, when you having rough days, man, that's not, everybody can't do that.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, I wonder if the therapist needs a therapist. 'Cause-
Therapists
Do
do that.
therapists like have like you know how some jobs, like I work in a very I work in a very stressful environment.
You do.
So just like the whole transporting patients and just seeing like have to go to the morgue and shit like that. Like at one point I thought I needed stress leave. I really take mental days, like I take mental health days off, because it's like it's so crazy in the hospital at times. Do therapists do that? Do they take mental days off?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to function without them. but you know what? It speaks to a bigger issue though, that you said that, because I just think that black men, period, we not adept to, like, practice self-care, dog.
Right.
And I'm starting to even see it more, the more black clients or black men that I've been working with,
Right.
like, it's foreign.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we just so, you know, used to just dealing with stuff and then, like, taking care of everybody that relying on us,
Right.
but we don't really practice a lot of self-care.
Right.
And you know, that's one thing about me. I'm not. That's not negotiable for me.
Right.
Like, I gotta, you know, it ain't gotta be nothing crazy, but I'm gonna definitely make sure I get my time. I gotta be intentional about it.
Right.
Like, I'm just as intentional about my self-care stuff as I am about my work,
Right.
because it's one is always gonna affect the other. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think you have to be, dog. So
Right.
even though the work you do, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll probably see some stuff, man.
Nah,
I'll see some stuff,
I
man.
see some shit. I seen some shit. I just don't. I like.
You don't talk to nobody about it.
Nah, I definitely don't talk. No, I talk to people about that, but I try. I just like I take them days off. I let them know. Like, I call my boss, like, yo, I'm taking 2 mental days off, dog.
Got to.
Shit was crazy this week, man. I can't. Man, I'll be having like just it be crazy. Like, I remember one time.
You do, man. You do.
I think one time I had a morgue run. It was just a crazy weekend, and it gave me like flashbacks of like all people that I got seen got killed, or like people I know that got killed. And I was like, dog, I can't keep doing this shit, man. It was just like, dog, I gotta get away from this shit. Like, I'm,
Sixth Sense?
no, you know, this is like, dog, it triggered, like, yo, what is wrong with you,
I'm
man?
saying, man.
Yo, you really be throwing me off, like, all the time, man.
Yo, dog.
I ain't never changed.
You
Yo.
still got that scene.
Yo.
You saying it like you seen him.
Yo, listen, we gonna skip past that because this boy is nuts, man.
Do you, real quick, do you think like people don't have a lot of access to therapy? That's one of the reasons they don't go. Maybe is it costly, or they
It can be
just don't
costly.
have, they just don't have the resources.
That's a
or
major
no
barrier.
No one brings it
Mm-hmm.
to the neighborhoods about therapy or any programs. You think that's one of the reasons why, another reason why people don't come to talk to therapists?
Absolutely, man. You know, it's definitely sometimes a financial thing, financial barrier. I mean, I guess it can be expensive, man. If you ain't
I thought you was gonna say, I ain't gonna front, man. I want my money.
He
I mean,
money
look,
too.
at the end of the day, man, look, you know, I ain't gonna
Paying
front.
for
I ain't
service.
gonna front though. I ain't gonna front. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I struggled with that at first. You know what I mean? Because you know, I was just so used to doing things off the muscle and just, you know, donating my time.
Right.
Like when I actually started to, like, you know, charge individuals or whatever like that, it was uncomfortable for me.
Right.
I kind of had to, like, you know, go through a little transition with that. You know what I mean? Because I just wasn't used to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like it's you have to though, man, because it's
Yeah,
like
I see what you're saying.
you-
It's
you-
like I'm gonna help you, but I don't want to feel like
Right.
you gotta give me money to
right.
make
It's,
sure.
yeah,
that
that's
you're-
exactly
Right.
exactly.
That means
So-
you're very passionate at what you do.
I love it, man, but you know, you gotta be compensated for it, because I mean, we be giving up on a lot of ourselves too. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's a lot of work to go into it. You know, so I ain't gonna front. I did struggle with that, but that's, you know, I think that when you got people that's really passionate about it and they really care, you know, they willing to work with people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, based on what they can afford and things like that. I think that's the one reason why this program, Black Men Hill, is so amazing, because they providing it for free.
That's
You know what I'm saying? So they giving you eight sessions off the rip. You ain't gotta pay for nothing.
They actually had that service at my job. Not Black and Hill, but
Mhm.
you get 8 free sessions.
8 free sessions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's unheard of. That's unheard of, man.
It's just hard finding the person that you want to deal with.
So you gotta go find your own.
You know, it got to be within the PEN network.
Their,
So,
their scope, right? All that,
Yeah.
with the insurance and all that.
yeah.
Well, the great thing about Black Men Hill is that they actually do, and like again, like these women are amazing. They actually they link you with a therapist like that fits, that they feel like would fit you
I think I gotta check it
well.
out.
Yeah, it's,
I need to
it's,
check it
it's
out.
dope how they do it, man. They put a lot of work into, like, you know, finding the matches for you and all that. So that's another thing. Like, people don't really feel like searching for that. Like, 'cause you sometimes being with you can't just go to any therapist though. Like,
Right,
any
no.
therapist ain't gonna just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Nah, it's like anything else. Like you don't go
Exactly.
to any doctor.
it's a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, it's a relationship. Like, so you ain't gonna just ride with anybody. Everybody's not gonna be helpful to you. So you gotta go through the process of finding somebody that fits you well. You know what I mean? And some people ain't trying to go through all that.
Yeah,
You know
I'm
what
about
I
to
mean?
say, how tough is that though?
That can be difficult.
Like,
That's very difficult.
searching for somebody you feel like you can talk to.
It could be real hard, man. I've known people who, you know, been therapist after therapist after therapist, but they just didn't feel like none of it was a good fit.
No connect.
There was no connection or just whatever. And you really see it, you know, in our community and because it's not a lot of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, again, like, it's still a lot of other therapists that's really good, that could be helpful from other cultures, but, you know what I mean, it's just, for us, man, it's just nothing like you said earlier, like when you seeing somebody that look like you, talk like you, whatever.
And feel like you'll know what I'm going through.
Exactly. I mean, like, even like some of the, like, you know, some of the sessions of the clients that I had, like, I just even, like, this is small stuff, like, a lot of the guys, some of them are from Philly, you know, so come from some of the neighborhoods we come from, North and all that, and they may say a certain thing or have a certain phrase. I don't gotta, like, stop them, like, yo, what you mean by that?
Right,
Like, I know exactly what they talking about.
Yeah.
So he, you know what I mean? And not to say like it's not okay to, like, yo, can you clarify that?
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I don't really have. That's just one less thing I gotta do with them. As if somebody who ain't really familiar with that is like, well, what you talking about, man? Can you please elaborate on how? You know,
So
I know
you think that they had to drill one of the eyes. Sir, please tell me what
Yo,
what is
drill the op, man. I was thinking it's something a lot simpler, like, yo, this shit draw.
Yeah,
or
like
something
like that. I was thinking
not drill the op,
Drill
okay?
the op, and you took a therapist that you was about to
You
drill
going
the
to
op.
fucking jail, man. I hope the therapist
And he was about
just
to
call the
drill one of the
cops.
ops. He was like, yo,
Yeah.
listen, dog, I don't
Yeah.
know what that means, sir.
Yeah, listen, man. I mean, if I don't know what's up, I definitely ask. But I've been lucky enough that I had to deal with too much of that. I mean, I kind of know where they're coming from in the lingo. You know what I mean? Well, a lot of them, if they go to somebody who don't come from where he come from, they can't relate to that. They don't know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So like, all those parts are just different barriers.
You saying that, I feel like, I know we on the subject of therapy, but dog, if they were to initiate that in every form of practice, like police,
right,
your politicians, anybody that can at least, they come from where you come from, so they'll know the issues that that you're dealing with. They'll be more passionate to help you instead of just getting somebody from East Bubble to come down and police your neighborhood or to talk to your youth. It's like, you don't know what I'm going through, dog. You like, your life is perfect compared to mine. So
yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Touch on that, yeah.
Relatability is an issue in a lot of different aspects of life right now.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
How do you feel about the childhood trauma? How do you feel the roles that affects the black men as they get older?
Yeah. I mean, it just goes back to what we was talking about earlier, man. Just some of the things that it's like, I think that when you growing up in a certain environment, certain things are just so normalized that we don't even know that it's affecting us in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? We just adapt.
Being desensitized.
Just being desensitized. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, and by the time we get our age, we get grown, it's like we don't even know like how it's playing out in certain relationships and how we function and how we move. We don't even know. You know what I mean? So, like the stuff you were saying earlier, like you didn't, like you was, seeing people that you lost and it was different things, but you didn't know how to express it or process that. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna just go away because you older. You know what I mean? It's
I got a story. I think a few people I know about this, but a lot probably don't. I know I was in 9th grade, so me, and a couple of young boys, we went to the movies to see Bride of Chucky. I think you was in Northeast. You played. You had a football game probably this night, and I come home from the movies. And my next door neighbor, when I went to go home, I was locked out. So my next door neighbor was like, Omar, come to my house. I gotta talk to you for a second. So my neighbor was like, yo, your brother got shot. So I'm like, damn, for real? So I'm like, damn, is he okay? So, it ain't cell phones and nothing like that around this time. So I just gotta wait in their house until my mom get home. So my mom get home. She come get me from next door. My mom get home. So I'm like, damn, how's Derek or whatever? So she said he's fine. He got shot in his legs. He gonna be fine. But he got two casts. Both his legs, his legs were shattered. So, or one was shattered or something like that. So I was like, damn, what happened? And come to find out, my sister and her boyfriend shot at my brother. So it really, think about how I felt as a child coming up. It's like, dog, I gotta pick a side. Like, my sister shot my brother. This like some rap shit. Like, so I'm like, growing up, I've always thought it never affected me. But as I look back on it did, because it made me grow apart from my siblings. Because I never wanted to pick a side. It was like, dog, your sister probably was in the wrong, but that's your sister. Right? I mean, that's still your blood. And then there's your brother. I feel bad for my brother. So that probably made me go apart from my siblings. Right. And that's when I pulled my friends probably closer to me. So, but my family always looked at me like, you always choosing your friends over your family. And I never knew like that probably was some of the reasons why I was like that. And it's crazy because that childhood drama, I really never talked about that. I never addressed. And it's crazy. That's just like, to this day, I still think about that shit. But I think that was one of the reasons why I'm so close to my friends now.
You know what I mean? And was like probably away from my siblings.
Yeah.
You think
that's typical.
you think secondhand trauma is real?
Yeah.
Like, cause no,
Good.
knowing his family and everything, and I just think of that like, damn, I wouldn't know what to do if my brothers and my brother or my family was like actually out to harm each other to the point where like you drawing guns and shit like that.
I mean, cause you gotta think about it. I mean, we all grew up close.
Yeah.
So I actually remember a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Like you going through that situation. Not vividly, but I do remember that. And like we all grew up really close. So like, I mean, what one person was going through,
Right.
sometimes we all felt that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like, and I mean, I remember we spent a lot of time together around that.
Yeah,
those
me
years
and D
because
was like this was like probably my
we
first
was-
best friend.
Yeah,
You know what I
like,
mean?
we was always together. Like so, it's like I know that not to get off topic, I know that the safe haven for us was Miss Margie house. We would
Yeah.
always be in Miss Margie house all
Yeah.
day, every day. Reese mom. So like those are the times where we shared those stories and what we was going through
Right.
and what was happening. Like yeah, you feel that for your boy.
Right,
You know what
because
I'm
this,
saying?
it periodically through the years, he's been like talking like this, like, damn, that really fucked me up.
Right.
But the main part is it just just went on.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
life just went on. It just was.
Right.
We went about whatever we was doing after that, laughing, giggling, playing a game, hooping or whatever sports. But I could say about maybe 3 times since I known him, he brought that situation up to where it's like, yo, that really fucked me up.
Yeah,
Like, I can't believe
Right.
that, you know what I'm saying, that happened.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what I'm saying with it. That secondhand trauma, it's like seeing people go through other shit can also damage you too.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy because no one in our household talked about it. It happened. A couple words was probably said, arguments, and then it was nothing. And it's like, dog, I'm 15 years old at this time. And it's like, damn, dog, like how do we recover from this? And it's like, dog, you just become, and that's a part of the reason why I was so out of touch with people getting shot and shit like that. It just didn't bother me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Real.
And do you feel like that is even like that now? Like you feel like even that y'all older now and everything is the way it is now, you feel like it still hasn't been addressed?
It
You feel
still
like
hasn't been addressed.
And that's crazy.
Till this day, it
That's
still hasn't
crazy,
been addressed.
right?
Like,
Right.
I mean, our family is more close, tight knit now. Like my brother and sister have a really good relationship, and it's maybe because of the birth of my nephew. So my brother having a son, it made them become closer. So it's like that, but that is not.
It never was a.
It's never. It's just.
Why did you shoot me?
Right.
Yeah,
Never
it's
dealt-
like-
never dealt with it.
Type of conversation.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot more to the story. I just gave like the slow version. I don't want people to paint the picture like my sister's an animal. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because that's not the case. Like they shot at the ground. The bullets actually ricocheted up and hit my brother in his legs. So like they was trying to scare him, but the shit actually went wrong. So
Tory Lanez.
Tory Lanez, man.
oh my God, boy, this boy is crazy.
The Meg joint.
So yeah, but it's never been addressed, and it's like,
And that's typical from our community though, man.
Yeah.
Like there's so many stories like that.
it's a million stories
There's
like
a
this.
million stories like that, and they all similar. A lot of them similar, a lot of them different, but it's still trauma that's never been addressed. And like obviously, I mean, your family, y'all still driving y'all good, but it's in some ways that like when I said it's still affecting, it still affects you now. It
Yeah.
affected how you maneuver through your relationship with your siblings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like that stuff don't never go away, man. I mean, I think that like the more we start pushing individuals, but also families, just to have tough conversations.
Yeah,
Had tough conversations to
I
feel
think those are
comfortable.
needed.
Those are big time, man.
Yeah.
Big time.
And like it could have been a completely different outcome if like my mom said, okay, we need family therapy. You know what I mean? But she doesn't know. I mean, it's like she grew up with that stigma. Yo, this therapy. We don't do that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
a lot of older parents, majority of them, definitely could have used therapy back in the day, like
Yeah.
because that's a lot of parents that then take that anger out on their children because of
For
the
sure,
stress and
for sure.
shit they go through. But then back to his point, like I'm telling you, we heard you got shot and everything. It just was like, damn, that's crazy. Yo, where we gonna go get something to eat at? And it's
Yeah.
just like,
It's like just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Like it's like what we
Yeah.
gonna do? Just keep it moving. Just do something make feel better. But it's like we really don't know what to do.
Right. We as like my brother or like being my brothers, we don't know what to do. And it's like, dog. Like even to this point now, when it's something crazy happens to one of our friends or something like that, all you can do is like we just give you a listening ear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that slowly but surely, man, the more we keep on, I've been following Mike on the joint. One of the things he talk about a lot is love.
Yeah, no, that's the main component to everything.
It's just, I think that's what we need, man. We gotta feel like I ain't afraid to say it. I tell my boys I love them all the time.
Yeah,
I
every
told
time.
you I love you the other day.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I mean it, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how comfortable make y'all feel. I don't
Yeah.
care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I think that we gotta start normalizing that though. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so crazy because like even where we come from, like if you show too much love, if you too
They look
whatever,
They look at you like you crazy.
you like you crazy, you a dickie, and like you know what I'm saying, like you know what I mean. You was you being Joe, you know what I'm saying? Like what's up with you? Yeah, like so we not that's the culture we grew up in. Like if you show too much, like, ain't that crazy?
Why you keep liking them pictures?
You know what I'm saying? What's up, dog? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so I think
Complimenting
exactly.
them kicks,
You
man.
couldn't be too Joe when we grew up. Like, I mean,
No, but you know what's even crazier? Like me, for me, it's hard for me to accept compliments. Like I don't like being praised. Like
too, yeah.
it's like, yo, chill out,
Yeah,
like
right,
that.
Right.
I don't like it. I mean,
Feel
I
uncomfortable.
understand it, but it makes me uncomfortable.
I'm the same way. Man.
Yeah, it makes me very uncomfortable
Right.
just to receive praise or compliments like that. Like
I think you should challenge yourself though, man. Like, and I've been trying to do the same thing of like kind of changing that because I'm the same way. I
Right.
don't feel comfortable. But we gotta stop. We gotta stop, especially as black men. Waiting until we die or one of my men die to show love.
yeah. Because I love all my friends. I tell them no every time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yo,
and,
I love you,
And
man.
it ain't just about just saying it. It's about
No,
making
it's
yourself
acts.
available.
It's
You know,
acts.
it's
Yeah, it's
acts.
acts of
It's
love.
like doing things and like and showing appreciation, like praising your man when he, you know what I'm saying, when he's doing
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Don't just wait until it's an accomplishment made and
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm proud of you, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I come in here and I see you doing this and I'm proud. Like I'm happy
We
to see
appreciate
shit
it, man.
like this, man. Like, you know what I'm
I'm
saying?
proud of what you do, man.
I appreciate it. I mean, the more we start to talk like that and to change the language, man, that's going to be the beginning of the healing process
Yeah.
for us all. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we all need each other the same way we did back then.
Yeah.
Now that we have more wisdom, we have more insight. I think we got to start using that on each other and
Right.
for ourselves too.
Yeah, like you said, not too many people love each other, and that's why.
It's not enough love, man.
Not enough love going
Yeah,
around,
man,
man.
not enough love. You know what I'm saying? And like again, it's two sides of that. Like you can't because there's a lot of homies that love each other, but they're not really showing it, or they're not really
Right.
they don't feel comfortable with showing it.
Some
certain
people
ways.
don't know how to
They don't
love.
know how to love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some people don't know how to love. And that's, I feel like love is, you have to teach love.
Right.
And that's again growing up with just being in households and just, it's taught. Like it's like generational curses have to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I tell my nephew every time I talk to him, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Right.
Let's not be ashamed to tell one another that we love them. You know what I mean? Because it's like, who else do we have to love?
Mhm.
Each
Right.
other, man. Like
Right.
put that out there, man. It means a lot, man.
Yeah. So I mean, one thing that I do, this is just a personal thing that I do is I'm like really big on letting the people around me know how I feel about them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And not just like no one time thing. Like whenever I see fit, I'll tell my homie or a family member, whatever. Like, yo, I appreciate this about you. You know what I mean? I like this part about you, especially if it's positive. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it has to go the other way too. You gotta hold. Sometimes love is accountability.
Right.
Like if your man is drawing, if your homie drawing or whatever, he doing stuff that's just out of pocket. Like sometimes showing love is like, yo, what you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I think you got to go about it a certain way.
you got to go about it a certain way. You got to be able to communication is the
Yeah,
biggest
it's
part of that. How you frame it, how you approach it. But you got to know the people that's around you and
Yeah.
how to approach certain people.
I think communication and comprehension. Comprehension is major too.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot goes. You have to try to understand the people that you're around.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, know when you know someone's situation first before you start complimenting and all
Right,
that.
right.
Start putting your feelings out towards a person.
Right.
Just know their situation
Yeah.
first,
Right.
and,
Right.
and then know how you can. It's not what you say.
that's how you say
How
it.
you say it?
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that.
Nah, for sure,
That's a
for
big
sure, for
believer.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody's going through something. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's going through something. So you gotta kind of be careful how you like you said, how you talk
Right.
to people, how you gauge them. I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think another piece of this is, I mean, sometimes you don't always gotta feel the need to interject every little thing, but you
Yeah.
know, sometimes when if your brothers really trust you, they'll come to you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But when they come to you, you gotta give them the real. Like,
sure.
all that telling them what they want to hear and all
nah,
that.
ain't good.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my homies already know. Like, don't. I mean, if you don't want to hear the truth, if you don't want to hear don't come to me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to show my love for you by telling you the truth.
Right.
Because I'm not helping you no other way. I'm not going to just feed you the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So, but you got to do it in a loving way.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't. You know, if you overcritical or if you just, you know what I mean, trying to minimize him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not going to work either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
sound
That's how you lose people.
Right.
Yeah, that's
sound
how
like
you
coming
lose
at
people.
people,
Yeah,
or
right.
sound like you trying to
Absolutely.
talk down to them.
Absolutely.
How you feel about self-awareness?
I mean, that's another big part of it. I mean, like we was talking about earlier, like knowing when you need a break, knowing when you need more self-care,
Right.
stuff like that. Like all that stuff is just getting to know yourself.
Right.
A lot of it still ain't really. We still learning things about ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just there's certain things you even brought up, like you're reflecting and thinking about how your past is impacting you
Yeah.
now and stuff like that. You know, so there's a lot of work to be done in our community with that too, is people getting
Right.
to understand. I think that's a good part of the therapy process too, though, is like, because one of the things I love to do with every client is I do a timeline with them. That kind of just illustrates every significant event that happened, you know, from their first memory to present time. And like you'll be surprised that like once you finish the whole thing and they go back and they actually, you know, they memories start clicking and they start thinking about these certain things that happened
Right.
and they start putting the pieces together.
Right.
Like it's just decent how they just become more self-aware of like, hey, damn, like
Yeah, they know why
I
this
see.
happened. They know why
Yeah.
this is going on in their life now
right.
because of
You
this
know what I'm
certain
saying?
situation.
Exactly. So just
Yeah.
this is a matter of a session. You may have a guy who just connects something that happened when he was 11 years old,
Right.
and then like how it just played into an argument with his wife last night,
Right.
and he didn't even understand it until he became more self. Just by doing just one simple exercise.
Right.
So like being self-aware, man, is another big piece of like this whole thing. You know, and I think that's something that's starting to improve as well.
Black. What's your take on the way black? Like I get a lot of. I see a lot of this going on. Like black men have some black men have hatred towards women.
I see that sometimes too.
What's your take on that?
Man, when I think about that, man, I think it goes back to what we just talked about. I think a lot of it is just really not understanding who you are individually, not having a lot of self-awareness. Because I mean, think about it, man. Like the black woman, they done made this thing work.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I mean, think about it. When you have our moms and all that, man,
Right.
it's just like the people that played. Like if you think of our grandmoms, like those are the people that really held it down for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like for you to be able to really have hate in your heart towards like those type of individuals, it just shows a lack of this like just a self-awareness to me.
It's crazy because it's like only thing they want a woman for is sex, but
It's just
like
like-
you constantly down them. Like,
Right.
yo, I can't stand these bitches.
Just mad.
I hate they hair. Why they wear weave? You know, just you sound crazy. I love everything about women. I love
black
everything
women.
about
Yeah,
them. Like
I got you.
it's ridiculous, man. Like,
Mhm.
and I was raised by a woman.
Mhm.
Like Pac said, since we got a game from a woman, got a name. Why do we hate our women? Like that's a real thing, man.
Right.
I mean,
Self-esteem is a big deal with that.
yeah,
A lot of you know, black young men, you know, suffer from a low self-esteem.
right,
So it's like, you know, because of that, you know, I mean, they're not confident in themselves and who they are. They, you know what I mean? So somebody gonna get it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Somebody gonna get the brunt of that. So
And it's easy to take it out on
it's,
woman.
you know what I'm saying? And it's like that's in a sense falsely boosting their own self-esteem in a sense, because they feel like, you know, if I, you know what I mean, talk to these Jones like this, or I can, you know, be disrespectful in this way or act like a certain way, you know, that's making them feel good about themselves, but it's not real.
Do you see a lot of that in relationships, like couples therapy? If they couples come to you,
So you mean
see
like
some of that?
with like the
It's
men
like-
hating,
yeah, it's
hating
like-
the women?
It's like they feel like they always at odds with each other.
I think a lot of it. You know, there are obviously situations like that. I mean, because you got, you know, domestic violence and stuff like that, you know, situations or whatever. You know, or stuff that lead to that. But I haven't seen too many of that. Like, a lot of the clients that I have seen, a lot of people that I have seen, you know, as far as couples and the issues that they had, it's like it's usually faults on both sides, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, because and honestly, recently, it be more of the men
Right.
that be trying to get this done. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like, you
they
know, I
trying to
think
fix a relationship.
right.
Yeah.
They try, like this.
I think because women are so independent now, it's like, yo, they women like, yo, I can rule.
right.
I got options.
Yeah. So you know, it's I've been noticing a lot of men have been taking the initiative, and a lot of the, you know, not even just like professionally, it's like even personally, a lot of the guys I know that's got married, that's like, you know, trying to move forward in their relationships and long-term relationships. They've been the ones that's like, yo, we need to do this. So you know, it comes in all forms, man.
Right.
You know, sometimes it be the woman that.
I was about to say, is it like a vice versa thing where now there are like, cause there are women that are like, you know, I don't need to do for nothing and
Yeah.
you know, this and that. And, like,
That's a great question, because like I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Like another big thing with this is, women getting money now. Like they successful, man. So like, you know, back when we was coming, our grandparents, if you was a man and you had a job and, you know what I'm saying, you had a little pension or whatever, or you know, you can hold a wife.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can take care of you know, but like now they making more than us.
So like, they got options.
So they got options. So at the end of the day, the thing is, it's a lot of insecurities. I mean, they feel like they don't have the money, or they not the breadwinner and things like that. They don't have nothing else to offer. You gotta have more to offer now
Yeah.
to these women. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have, you know, you gotta be really sure and secure in yourself as a man. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta have other things to bring to the table, because they don't just need us for our bread.
They
you
got
know?
their own bag.
They got their own bag. So
They
it's
got
like,
their
you know
own
what I'm saying?
bag.
Like what? So they coming into the situation like, okay, what else can you do for me?
Yeah.
So as a man, if you not healed, if you not self-aware, if you not confident, if you don't got high self-esteem, what you gonna do if she got more bread than you? Because now that's what they've been banking on forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you down. I'm gonna take care of everything. But she don't need you to do that. She needs you to do the other things. And there's so much more to being a man than just like what you can provide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that men are starting to learn it now, and that's something else that comes, you know, up a lot in the therapy, is like, you know, it's helping the men to realize that, like, what else are you doing? You know what I'm saying, to kind of like, you know, to fulfill the relationship. And it's not just on them, because a lot of women need to be held accountable too. But that's a big piece of that.
I mean, we really want to run the show on time. One last question. How do you feel about people like people going to relationships broken?
Can't do it.
I mean, okay.
Because like you can't do it, man. I think that you gotta heal yourself first.
Right.
You know what I'm
Jumping into
saying?
anything.
Because, you know, if you come in a relationship where you got one person that's you know, broken, or two people that's broken, you're just gonna be two broken people in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of healing that has to take place, you know, within yourself. And when people are honest with themselves, you know, that's something they can address before they decide to take the leap. But a lot of people ain't being honest about that. They come in a relationship hoping that the relationship is gonna make them happy,
Right.
and to heal them, but it doesn't work like
Right.
that, you know. So hopefully that's something that changes over time as well.
Because a lot of black women say they don't like playing that role as the mother or the person that they gotta try to heal this man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways though. Like there's a lot of dudes that's trying to heal females too. You know what I'm saying? I think for a long time women have played that role
Right.
in our community. Like they've been the ones that's like, you know, because we have all these, you know, unaddressed issues
Yeah.
and problems and poverty and all that, and the woman has that they had to be everything.
Right.
But you know, now I feel like it's, you know, it's kind of more of a balance where, you know, it's going both ways. You know, sometimes you got women that's been through things and that's broken. Sometimes it's the guy, and they just trying to, you know, figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta address that before you take that leap, though.
Let the people know where they can get your services at.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can go to blackmanhill.com to you know, visit that site and apply if you're interested in doing, you know, therapy. I know that the woman right now it's more so strictly tri-state area,
Right.
but you know, the more that they're expanding, you know, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be statewide, national.
Okay.
Soon. You know, it's also you know, some elderly organization. I'll, you know, give you more information on that later. That you know, dealing with the elderly. Yeah, I gotta let's see, I got it written down. They you know, servicing the elderly, you know, for like the getting them involved in therapy as well.
Okay.
Miracle Health Division.
Okay.
So that's something new. They're gonna be providing the therapy for the elderly as well.
Okay.
So, but yeah, man, blackmanhill.com.
Right.
Check that out. You know, people. You know, I'm not really like a social media guy, but
Right.
you know, people know how to get in touch with me. I can also, you know, provide individual therapy. But there's a lot of, and if I'm not a good fit for somebody, you know, individually, I always refer you to somebody. There's a lot of good places out here, a lot of good therapists out here.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Got anything, man?
No, that's it, man. A lot of insightful information.
For
on
sure.
People needing to talk to people and get themselves together.
Great
We all need
conversation.
therapy.
I think so.
Yeah.
We all need to talk to somebody, cause especially 2020,
Yes, sir.
been very stupid.
Everybody, yeah.
Should be 18 months. It seemed like.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all doing this episode because I mean this is something that we definitely got to keep pushing forward for the culture.
Sure. Episode 92. Rate, review, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
My man David Montgomery, man.
Mhm.
Check him out, man. Till next week. Rate, review, subscribe again. We out.